Hello and welcome to A Sense of Centerville and Washington Township, your place for stories about ordinary and extraordinary residents and places in the Centerville and Washington Township area. I'm Susan from Centerville-Washington History, and I look forward to hearing your story. Today, my guest is Kevin O'Brien. Kevin O'Brien is one of the Centerville-Washington History Scholarship winners for 2025. He has volunteered with Centerville-Washington History over 40 hours since 2021. In addition to volunteering with Centerville-Washington History, Kevin volunteers with the Miami Valley Down Syndrome Association, Incarnation Parish, and the Special Olympics track team. He was awarded the Sportsmanship Award for the golf team. Kevin plans to study business at The Ohio State University this fall with aspirations to operate one of the country's best amusement parks. All right, welcome, Kevin.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So how did you get involved in volunteering for Centerville-Washington History?
So my mom initially gave me, when I was in 8th grade going into 9th grade, I knew I needed volunteer hours for NHS and other various clubs to be a part of. And this was one of them that my mom found. She did all the work. I got to give all the credit to her. She found the Centerville-Washington Historical Society as she thought it'd be a good idea because, one, it's right next to our house. It's a walking distance most days. And two, I've loved history for my whole life, so they thought it was going to be a good volunteer thing that didn't really feel like volunteering. It was kind of more of an activity that I'd like, and that's exactly how it turned out to be sitting here 4 years later.
Awesome. Well, that's great to hear. I know it really does sometimes take parents to kind of find those opportunities because, like, when you're a young person, you don't necessarily know what there is to do. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad that she found it, and I'm glad it's been a good experience for you.
Yeah, it was a ton of fun.
Good. What have been the fun things?
Seeing all the old stuff from Centerville. Like, there's artifacts that I've seen in cases that I had no idea. Like, I've seen Civil War, like medals and bullets and stuff like that people have dug up in their yards and put in display cases that have been in the museums. And I never would have guessed anything of the like would have been here in Centerville, Ohio, 100, 200 years later. Yeah, it was just, I've also really loved like the big events that you put on, which is not super often, but they're important. Like the homesteading Ohio thing. That's only once a year, but it's several hours, and it's always a fun time seeing all these families come through the park and play these old-timey games that also I had no idea like were things before I joined the club. I also really liked the like summer camp for kids in the summer. I don't know if it has a name, but I liked helping the kids also try to install a love for history that I found when I was a kid. So those were some of the highlights. I also like seeing the old documents, like interpreting like the permits for old buildings and stuff like that. Yeah, it's just super cool to me.
Now, I remember you, one of the first times you came into the museum, since you really like sports, you liked all the sports memorabilia we had and the old baseball that we have of the first state championship that Centerville won.
First and only.
The
so
first.
far.
So, and that was 1928. So that's one memory I have. Yeah, we don't do Homesteading Ohio now, but that might be something we do again someday.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you've kind of been at everyone. Have you? You've done Ghost Walk. You haven't done the Ghost Walk.
I actually didn't do that one because I get spooked pretty
easily.
Do you?
I do too. Yeah, but
it's not my cup of tea.
No. And then you were at the Sense of Taste. I remember because you were working with my husband at that one.
And that's actually how I got my job. So I was also sitting next to the manager from Graders, and we had nothing else to do for 3 hours. So we just talked and talked and talked, and he kind of informally offered me a position at Graders. And I'm like, yeah, I could see myself working there one day also because it's within walking distance of my house. And so I submitted an application about a month later, and I'm still there today.
It's a good job.
It's a great job.
Yeah, I'm glad that worked out for you. Sometimes it is really just, he was able to see you're a good kid with good customer service. And that's like an interview right there. So I'm glad that worked out for you. So yeah, teen volunteer could get you a job. You never know. Okay. So we're so glad that you volunteer with us, but what are some of the other organizations you volunteer with?
So some of the big ones, the biggest ones are the Miami Valley Down Syndrome Association. So my brother has Down syndrome. So as long as I can remember, I've been around this group. And that's kind of where my volunteering career kicked off when I was probably 5 or 6 years old. So I always like to help out. So my role with that group has gradually increased as I've gotten older. And now I'm even on the board to plan the golf outing, the yearly golf outing fundraiser for the group. But I always just like the buddy walk is a yearly thing. I get up early and go set it up, stay late, tear it down, and several other events. Like there's a euchre tournament, which has gone away since COVID, but I was helping with that. That's pretty much it for the Down syndrome group. Then I volunteer for Special Olympics track. Obviously, I mentioned my brother has special needs himself. He does track. He also does gymnastics, but I don't know a lick about gymnastics, so I'm not really a whole lot of help there. But track, I was a soccer player growing up, so I was a pretty fast guy. So I always like to help out people running fast, and the people who really loved it, I loved seeing the joy on their faces. We even sent several people to states this year, so I'd like to think I had a little bit to do with that.
I'm sure you did, yeah.
I also volunteer at the Incarnation Parish, so I did prep classes and got confirmed through Incarnation Parish growing up, and about monthly, which it hasn't been around in a while, but several years ago, monthly, it was there was something called respite care nights, which is pretty much just free babysitting for parents. They just drop their special needs sons and daughters off to have a date night or whatever. I believe it was 2 to 3 hours of just drop your kids off, go do what you want for the night. And I always was with this boy named Vincent. He's always, I love Vincent. He's the sweetest kid ever. And yeah, he's just my favorite. And he keeps bringing me back to these respite care nights because I like spending time with him. I like seeing him interact with all the other people. I also volunteered only a couple times for special needs prep classes like what I took, but for special needs kids. My brother was a part of that class, although I wasn't really helping him because he's going to fight me everything I do. So I was helping out some other kids with the education.
Yeah, so your brother is used to you and doesn't want you
no,
for.
He doesn't.
I'm sure that will change. Yeah. You never know.
Yeah, he's a pretty stubborn guy.
Yeah, I'm sure he is. Yeah, he's we're neighbors, so his little brother is always interested in petting my dog when he was growing up.
Oh,
so yeah, he's a little older now, doesn't ask as much, but yeah, that's definitely true. Well, you've been involved in so many things, and I'm sure that would be really hard. Respite care for people with special needs. I'm sure that's harder to find. It
is. To my knowledge, it's the only program in the Dayton area because Megan Sparks, who's on the Centerville School Board, she's a pretty popular name around Centerville. She does, I don't know how this poor lady gets anything done. She does so much stuff for the community. She's a saint. Yeah, and her oldest son, Zach, has special needs too. So she's one of the biggest advocates, probably is the biggest advocate of people with special needs in the area. And so she started this respite care night with only like a couple of volunteers, and we were way over our heads for how many kids were dropped off. Now it's grown, so it's about one-on-one for kids dropped off to volunteers to help with the night. Yeah, and so that's that.
Yeah, well, Megan Sparks was a person I interviewed, so I was amazed also at what she
does
does.
so much stuff.
Yeah, that's great. Great to shout out to Megan Sparks. Let's talk about why these organizations are meaningful to you. Why is this something that you want to be involved in? Because it's not, at this point, it's not all your mom's pushing.
No,
you do it because
I do it because I like it. It's not so much as a chore or volunteer. It's more like a hobby for me. I like history. I like the people that are part of this group, especially the older people I see not so often, but the amount of wisdom, the people who've been a part of this city for 80 years.
Mm-hmm.
You can just talk to them, pick their brain about anything, and they're almost always very friendly and happy to talk with you about whatever. And they just have a lot of knowledge about the area, knowledge about history that you wouldn't get anywhere else.
Cool. Well, that's great. I'm glad that you are so involved, because I think the more areas that you're involved in, the more you have interesting people in your life.
Mm-hmm.
So that's great. I'm glad that you have friends of all ages.
Yes.
So that's really good. Okay, so Centerville High School has always had a lot of clubs for students, and you've definitely been involved in many of these clubs. Can you share some of those clubs and things you've been involved in?
Yeah, so I've been a part of the investment club. For all 4 years, I was a part of the Circle of Friends, which is pretty much a club where it pairs up typical students and special needs students, and they eat lunch monthly and do activities periodically. At the lunches, we color, play games, just talk. It's really just whatever. I was a part of the Pie Club my freshman year, which is literally just a club where you get a group of 6 friends, and monthly one of you brings in a pie and you share it. It was a lot of fun. That went away. I don't know why, because I don't think it had a teacher to moderate it, which is the problem.
Yeah.
I was a part of the Interact Club, which is a community service club for the first 3 years. Then it didn't come back my senior year. I don't know why. I would have joined it. But yeah, so I knew coming into high school there was hundreds and hundreds of clubs you could join, and I knew it was better to be a permanent member of a couple rather than a half member of all of them. And so there were several others I was interested in that I could have done and probably should have done a couple more, but it was, yeah, I rather keep my priorities in just a couple of clubs, so they had my full attention.
Yeah, because you're also very involved in sports and family. You have a lot of family in the area, and you like to get together with them.
Yes.
So I'm sure you're generally pretty busy. So let's see. So let's talk about your sports. Yeah. So how'd you pick golf for your focus? Because I know, middle school you had like 20 different sports.
Every sport. Yeah. So growing up, I played basketball, baseball, soccer, and golf. And I wanted to play football, lacrosse, and hockey, but I was already too busy. So I stopped playing baseball after my 7th grade year because that's when COVID hit. And baseball wasn't my favorite. It was long and boring. It was fun. I liked pitching and playing shortstop when the ball was hit to me, but I was scared of the ball when hitting. I wasn't a very good hitter. So I stopped playing that when COVID hit. Basketball, I liked a lot. I was just always so short my whole life. I played one position and I wasn't even very good at that one position. So after 9th grade, I stopped that because that's when the Hustle Rec League stops. Soccer was my best sport by far. And I played that from the time I was 3 to when I finished up my freshman year in high school. And that was when I had to pick between soccer and golf because they're both fall sports at the high school. And I liked soccer better probably, but I knew I can't play soccer my whole life. And golf is a game that you can play forever. In fact, it's my grandpas who are now both 80 years old, who got me into the game, and I still play with them quite frequently. They just helped me fall in love with the new game, and they also support me financially.
Oh yeah,
because golf is not a
cheap sport. That's for sure. Yeah, that's probably what's held me back, and the lack of skill.
Mix of things.
Yeah, mix of things. No, it's true. I mean, you do the thing that you're good at and enjoy, and you seem to have found that thing that you can do for the rest of your life. That's great. Your dad still plays too, right?
Yeah, my dad is the best of the group, because he's kind of in his prime, if you will, where my grandpas, they've obviously lost some of their ability just because of their age, and I'm going on the way up. I'm not very good at golf. I just find it very fun. I'm no college athlete for golf, so
it's just something you'll always be interested in.
Yeah, my dad plays once to twice a week, and he's really good. He's always in the low 80s for a round.
Yeah, that means nothing to me,
yeah,
but maybe to other people.
Plays golf.
Yeah, that's great. So you got honored with a Good Sportsmanship Award for golf. Why is being a good sport important to you?
I was always taught to be a good sport. My golf career started in 6th grade at Incarnation, and I was always told that the I does not stand for incarnation. It stands for integrity. And being a part of the game of golf, a lot of it is self-regulated. And if you're a liar who's not a good sport, nobody's ever going to trust you in life. And if you develop that reputation, golf is a game where you make and develop a lot of connections. My grandpa was a truck salesman. And so he says he made over half of his sales on the golf course. And who knows if he's embellishing that or not, but he still made a lot of sales on the golf course. And if he ever had the reputation of being a cheater or a liar, he never would have had that opportunity. And so I was taught from a very young age, 6th grade, that golf should be played right. And that kind of carried over into every sport. I was always a good teammate, I'd like to think. I was a captain for my soccer team for several years. I picked up my teammates when they were having a tough time. And so coming back to golf, I won that Sportsmanship Award because, like I said, I'm not very good at golf. And so I was offered a role on the varsity team, either being cut, which isn't ideal, or be on the team as a practice squad member, who I knew wouldn't play very much. So I ended up playing twice the whole fall, which isn't a lot, but it's twice more than if I got cut. So I happily accepted the role of being a practice squad member. And I got to be out on the golf course every day, develop my game, be with my friends. It was just a blast. It was a ton of fun this year. And that's how I got the Good Sportsmanship Award, because I never once complained about my role. I never asked for more playing time because I knew that'd be detrimental for the team. There's clearly guys better than me who deserve more playing time.
Wow, a lot of wisdom from a young guy. And I can see it's a lot about relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why a lot of deals are made on the golf course, because you're developing a relationship with people as you're playing with them. So I can see that. 4 to 5
hours. Yeah. There's nothing else to do but talk to the people.
Yeah, I can see that. That's great. Okay. So let's talk about how you picked your area of focus for college. Because I love that you like amusement parks. Yeah. So let's talk about the business end of it.
Okay. So let's back it up to my love of roller coasters. Okay. So this goes back to 2017. I'm 10 years old. I'm one of the last kids in my class who had never been to Kings Island. Right. Most everybody had been once or twice, whether they were tall enough or not, or just been to Kittyland. I had never been. So for my friend's 11th birthday, he was turning 11. I was 10 at the time. We went to Kings Island. And obviously I was feeling nervous because I'd never been on a roller coaster before. And we hop on Banshee, which is his favorite ride. I'd never been on it. I've heard about it, and like it's the biggest, baddest ride there. It goes upside down 7 times,
Ah.
which I knew going in and was scared of that. And so he first ride of the day, we go right there because it's right at the front, and he gets me on it, and I'm terrified. I don't getting off, like it was awesome. And I knew like that was it.
You were hooked.
I was hooked from that very first ride. And so that the end of that day was awesome. So ever since that day, I devoted hundreds to thousands of hours memorizing like stats to hundreds of thousands of rides worldwide. I could tell you the height, the speed, the length of almost any ride you throw at me. And so then my dream came to wanting to design roller coasters. And so that would be like an engineer. And I don't know what kind of engineer because I never really pursued that dream. So that vision lasted for a little while of wanting to design roller coasters. Then I come to learn that most of the biggest roller coaster designers are not in this country. So some of the most notorious, most of them are Swiss. So I didn't really want to move to Switzerland.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had a bad day at it was Six Flags Great America outside of Chicago. And compared to Kings Island or Cedar Point, the reputation was known to have more of a ride only type of feel than a whole experience type of feel. And that was very apparent. Me and my family and I both noticed like the cleanliness, the operations, the speed, the friendliness of the workers. They were just not up to par to Kings Island. And so from that day, I told my parents everything the park should have done differently that day to make things better, smoother for everybody. And my mom brought up the idea that this is a better idea for a job for you. And I'm like, yeah, I like that. I want to be the guy that like makes things go smoothly at a park. And so since I was in 19, so 6 years ago, that's the dream I've been rolling with. And at Centerville, I joined the Centerville Business Academy, which is the business block to start my knowledge of the business world. Mm-hmm. And I really liked my time in that program. So here I am still pursuing that dream.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. And you did investment club.
Yes.
Was that successful? Did you make some money?
I didn't make any money because I just turned 18 and you have to be 18 to make investments.
But you learned about it.
I learned about the forms of investment. I'm definitely going to use that knowledge I've already started since I've turned 18. So yeah, but I'm going to keep that going into adulthood.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot you can do with business. So
yeah,
that's good. And that's good. You could kind of figure out, that your parents kind of helped you figure out what it is that you might be really interested in.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. Okay. What are the meaningful places around Centerville and Washington Township for you, and why are these meaningful to you?
Most of the meaningful areas revolve around the parks. So as stated, I was always a pretty athletic person growing up. I did a lot of stuff. So like Oak Grove Park stands out. I spent a ton of time at Oak Grove for game. Well, I spent probably more time at Forest Field Park for practices. I had soccer practice 3 to 4 times a week there. A lot of good memories with friends and a lot of bad memories because those fields held water like nobody's business.
So a lot of mud.
A lot of mud, and you never walked out of that place with a clean shirt. So that helps me not be so afraid of dirt and water anymore. So
yeah.
Oak Grove, I played almost all the home games were at Oak Grove. And so that place I love a lot because I played baseball at Oak Grove too. And I actually am in a little league with my friends. It's not a league. There's only 2 teams. We have enough to fill 2 teams. And we play baseball every Sunday. So I'm there playing baseball every Sunday. And I always just like to drive through the park, see the old fields, see how small I used to be. Like I could kick now I could probably kick a ball from one end to the other on most of the fields. Like
On the
on the
little
little
kid
fields,
fields, yeah, where they do the swarm ball, where they just
Uh-huh.
swarm around the ball.
Cluster ball.
Cluster ball. Yeah, we spent a lot of time there too, so I get it.
Yeah, luckily I got out of that stage. So
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, so and then Stubbs Park is awesome. I'm gonna nerd out for a second. There's 4 Pokestops on Pokemon Go.
Is there?
Yeah, and
Okay.
so every once in a while, me and my friends go to the park and just play Pokemon Go all day. And
So you're walking around. It's a great thing to do.
A lot of shady areas that I've never seen a concert there. That's on my list of things to do this summer. Just goes to the amphitheater. Watch a concert.
Well, plenty other people are going. It's it's fun.
So a lot of fond memories in the parks of Centerville.
Do you ever do like the Frisbee golf there or the?
No, I never did Frisbee golf. The extent of my Frisbee throwing is pretty much can jam, the yard game. Yeah, so
maybe for your future.
Maybe for the future.
Yeah, definitely. Well, great. So Stubbs Park, Oak Grove, Forest Field. Those are some highlights.
The highlights. Probably the three places in Centerville I've spent the most time that aren't my house. So
and maybe Graders too, since you work there.
Now Graders, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe Bill's Donuts.
Bill's Donuts, yeah. Those are the big ones.
Staples.
Staples? Yeah, why Staples?
The Staples.
Oh, the Staples.
Yeah.
I was like, Staples. Okay, awesome. All right, well, thank you so much for meeting with us today. It's been fun visiting and sharing some of your 18-year-old wisdom with us. And it sounds like you're on a great path for your successful future. I love that you have your shirt representing already. You have to turn a little so people can see. Yeah, so he's already representing. So exciting. How'd you pick your school? That's not one on our list. So.
It's not on the list. It was a long process. So it started my sophomore year when we first went to Seton Hall in Newark, New Jersey, right in the hood. And I'm like, I actually liked it a lot for the area it was in. So that was at the top of my list for like a couple of weeks. And then I went to Miami. Miami, I loved it a lot. Miami was great, especially as a business major, where they have the Farmer School of Business, which is like one of the top in the country, in the world, really. So I applied to 9 schools, and I eventually narrowed it down to 4. So those 4 were Wisconsin, who gave me a lot of money to make it worth my while, really make me consider it a lot. Ohio State, which is the family tradition. I have 9 living alumni relatives, my dad being one of them. I've been a huge Buckeye fan my whole life. The footballs, I've been up for hundreds of games, football, basketball. I've been up a lot. And Miami probably has the best business school for what I'm trying to do. But it couldn't really offer some of the other big school experiences that I was looking for. And then the last one was Tennessee, which was my favorite. But it was just, it's so expensive out of state. And I didn't like it that much more than Ohio State to justify the price. And so it was a tough decision. Eventually, I eliminated Miami and Tennessee. It was down to Ohio State and Wisconsin just because the price was so hard to turn down. But I didn't really want to go to Wisconsin. I don't know if I really saw myself there like I saw myself at the other 3. I landed on Ohio State about a week and a half before the final decision was due.
So it kind of became clear to you what your path should be eventually. Yeah.
Also, my whole bedroom is themed to Ohio State stuff. And like one day I took a look around and I really saw what was inside. Like you wake up, you're in it every day, but I really saw it this one day and I'm like, what am I doing?
I'm a fan.
This is what I've been working for my whole life, and that was pretty much when I made my choice.
Exciting. Well, I'm excited for you
Thank
to
you.
be part of the experience and to follow so many family members.
Yeah.
So
The cult that is the Ohio State University.
yeah. Yeah. Well, it'll be exciting.
It will
We'll
be.
think of you as we watch those games. So great. It's been wonderful visiting with you. So thanks to MVCC for helping to produce this podcast, and of course my guest Kevin O'Brien. If you have an interesting story about Centerville or Washington Township, please contact Centerville-Washington History. Please also come visit our museums in Uptown Centerville, Tuesday through Friday, 12 o'clock to 4 p.m. Follow us on Facebook or Instagram and watch for upcoming events posted on our website, CentervilleWashingtonHistory.org. Thank you and goodbye.